here. What is this? Oh, I didn't even see this. Oh, I can't. I do have a number to call. Huh. One moment. Let me go get a cell phone real quick. Okay, let's see here. Going with Budsman. Probably should have started this a little bit ago. All right, so welcome to the Norman Nick Show. I am Norman. Now, today, I'm a little pissed off. So, as we left off yesterday, I increased the internet, as I said, so there shouldn't be any issues with the online videos moving forward. But as you guys know, I'm about to go to court, family court again, and this is just for the tail end of a modification that I already won. But my baby mama, Mary Bell's finest, thinks that she can call CPS because she doesn't know how the courts work. So every time we go to family court, she calls CPS, thinking that CPS is going to do the work for her and she's going to get something that she could use. So to put an end to that and to teach a lesson, I tried to go down to Glendale PD, and this is the results. Hey, yeah, I had some questions about harassment, and I was wondering if I could speak to somebody that knows something about anything.
What exactly?
I am recording. It's just for,
that's fine.
Yeah. My ex, we have family court, and there's been a successional pattern of her calling CPS.
Okay.
And I want to know what I can do as far as law enforcement to protect myself, and as far as like harassment, and if there's anything that can be done on that.
So if it's involving kids and CPS, everybody has the right to make those calls so it can be investigated. It's just like calling the police. You know
but if we know it's the mother, and and CPS is now aware of it too. So, and I just got done talking to them, so I just wanted to see.
Let me make sure I understand.
DCS out here.
Right.
Yeah.
So the mother of the children is calling DCS on behalf of you?
Yeah, because we keep having family court, and,
right.
I have full custody, and she pays child support, and she is kind of embarrassed by it. So she's trying to defame me because I happen to be a YouTuber and I do father's rights education. Okay. So she's like trying to defame me and call CPS, and just do whatever she can to harass. Okay. So I want to know, not just for myself, but fathers that are also going through this with women trying to use the system to muddy the waters. Is there anything that can be done on your side?
But so what I would suggest you do, which is probably a better thing to do, is go over to the court and try to get an injunction against harassment, because then it's stipulated what can happen and not happen. But people can call, kind of like how they call the police. They're required to investigate if there's a call. Kind of the same thing with CPS.
But as far as like with how people like SWAT other people, how many times do you guys get called before you guys put, like, let's say the victim who is being swatted on the list, that you guys are going to their house and kicking in the door like every month?
So to be brutally honest with you, I'm not familiar with the swatting. I
You
obviously.
know what I'm talking about, though. Right?
Yeah, but, and I don't, I don't.
I know
how-
you're not a SWAT.
I don't know how to answer that because I haven't had to deal with the swatting stuff. Now, the guys
Yeah.
out on the street probably do.
Okay.
What I can have you do you live here in Glendale?
Yeah, well, no, I actually, my kids go to school here in Glendale. We just recently moved. So
Okay.
that's why, and I'm used to dealing with it. You guys are more friendly than Phoenix. So.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. At least we're doing something right, right?
Amen.
So here's what I can have you do. I can give you a card to the non-emergency number.
Okay.
And have an officer, because I don't want to tell you something that's not right. I work in the lobby. I don't work out there.
Gotcha.
I don't know enough about the swatting stuff because it doesn't happen here. You know what I mean? And I don't have to deal with it.
Gotcha.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, no.
All right, so let me give you this number. Call this number. Tell them a couple things. One, well, you don't live in Glendale anymore. I was going to say an officer can come out, or an officer can talk to you over the phone.
Is there a way to maybe set up like with a supervisor to sit down? Because I podcast. Is there a way to sit down and do like
That
a PR?
you probably might want to go through the public information office,
Would that be on the
but you can also ask for that as well.
on the card?
But
Okay.
do one step at a time.
Oh, of course.
So you can have an officer contact you and you can have that discussion with them because I don't know how to answer that question.
No, fair enough.
The other part is if you want to do some type of podcast, that would go through the public information officer. And when you're on the phone with them, ask them for that number as well.
Okay, will do.
Is that fair?
Appreciate
All
your time, man.
Hopefully I didn't
Thank you so
confuse
much. No, not at
I
all.
just want
no.
to be brutally honest. And
No,
not
no,
let you
I
down.
I appreciate brutal honesty over than just being chased around in circles. So
Okay.
have a great day. You too.
So yeah, so went down to the police station to find out if I could get help, and basically was told that I would have to go file an injunction. And well, when I talked to an officer on the phone, basically I was told I had to file an injunction of harassment. And I'm thinking to myself, how would an injunction of harassment help me against her filing, for CPS or whatever, or filing false accusation? How does that put an end to it? So today I went down to speak to the gentleman that tried to go to my kid's school yesterday, and my kids all turned them down to talk. So I called him up and I was like, yo, we need to have a discussion because I need to figure out how to stop this from happening. So he said, there was nothing he could do. He gave me, this ain't it. He basically gave me the number to Ombudsman. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically when there's an issue with CPS, the rules that CPS has to go by are rules of CPS. It's called the Ombudsman shit. Oh man, let me find it real quick. And he gave me the local number for that department to call in regards to questions about harassment through CPS. Let's see. Actually, we'll just do this. We'll Google harassment through child protective service calls. Yeah, all it says is when school, I don't have an issue with the kids' schools. It's the parent needs to know school report CPS. All my kids are on a roll. What to do when Child Protective Services call you. 10 things to know about Child Protective Services. I know about everything to deal and what my rights are. The only thing that I have not been able to master with CPS is how to stop the doxing, or not the doxing, the swatting with CPS. Because this is fucking crazy. My kids are on honor roll and they've learned when CPS, it's happened so frequently now that they just are regularly, it's like going to the nurse's office. It's like, no, I'm fine. I'm cool. I don't need to talk to you. And they just go right back to class and don't miss a beat. This is fucking crazy. So anyways, I was trying to get my dude Lamont on here. He's my father's rights advocate slash taking the bar exam in California. He's the one that's talk about this kind of stuff. But when I hit him up, he was a little bit busy. So he wants to come on tomorrow. So I'm going to put this on the shelf until tomorrow. And then we'll discuss it first thing and then get on. But what I did want to do is test this internet and go over this. What do we got here? All right. I wanted to go over this crazy ass story that we started going on yesterday with Surviving Legion. I hope you guys have been watching this shit because this shit is off the chain. I'm ready to forget Daryl Brooks now and just talk about Legion and how these two are. It was like, I wouldn't say they were perfect for each other because I kind of feel bad for her, but Homeboy is scandalous. And let me show you why. I had to do a background check on this dude. Let me show you what I saw on my system. This motherfucking clown off the chain, because I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Where are we at? Here it is. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let me share my screen. Where are you at, my guy? There he is. Okay. Let me show you what I found on this guy. This guy is a fucking ass clown. Come on. There it is. So his name is Jerome David McCoy, 45 years old, same age as me, born in 1978 in June. Now, that's him right there. That's his online pic right there. You guys can see that, right? That's him. He looks a lot thinner, a lot younger, but that's him. Now, when you go down, I believe it's Tanea is the old girl. Well, I have her pulled up too. It's not Tanea, it's Teresa, but she spells it all weird or whatever. But where's she at? Where's she at? There she is right here. She's 38 years old. The thing that caught me off track, I went right to that criminal record. And this motherfucker, she was not lying. This motherfucker here is, let's start from the old stuff up to the new stuff. So on here, September 7th of 2002, he had failure to wear a safety belt. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. He bonded out $200, you know what I'm saying? It was around, it's 25th of November, right around Thanksgiving. 2005, May, speeding. Now, keep in mind, this is 2 times he's dealing with something in a car, right? So no seatbelt and speeding. So not a big deal. So look at what happened here. He had another court cost of $100, fines of $216, bond forfeiture. So not a big deal. And this is all in Georgia, nothing in California, right? This is all when he was supposed to be, you know, playing football, right? So now we jump up to November 16, 2012. Failure to yield without turning left. Richmond, Georgia, again, traffic violation. It just says misdemeanor, so he probably did jail time there. I don't see that there was any bond or anything that was posted. So jump to February 2016. Impersonation of an officer, February 18, 2016. So it says here that impersonating an officer, a criminal traffic, Superior Court, a guilty plea negotiated by him, continued one, McCoy Jerome David, disposition date, March 30th, 2016. So he pled out to impersonating an officer. So this is him impersonating an officer. So we jump up here the next day. He also got charged with, on the next day, not only that, they went ahead and charged him also with criminal trespass. This one, he served 10 days in jail, balance of sentence suspended upon payment of fine. Doesn't say how much it was. Nolo contender plea of no contest. So he was actually criminally trespassing. I don't know if this was an ex-wife or what was going on, but obviously was. And then August 13th of 2021 is the old probation violation. He got arrested. Says here, that's it. It just says that he was probation violation, arrested, all in Georgia. There is nothing on here whatsoever that says anything about California. And I'm not going to show, I don't want to risk, getting this man already, crying, caring about what his ex-wife did to him and how he feels so bad about people named the same name as him. But I looked at the addresses and none of them are on the West Coast whatsoever. There is nothing whatsoever in California. This man is a habitual liar. He got on national television. You know what? He would have probably had more clout. Look, I'm all showing this shit. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna show it. Look at this. Georgia, 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 Rhode Island, PA, Georgia, 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 Georgia. None of them are his current address with his new girlfriend. So let's look at Teresa. See what we got. Teresa, 38. She's obviously friends with some of these McCoys. She's got them on here, like, because obviously she was married, but she's got some ties to them according to public records. There's a Theodore McCoy and Michael McCoy. I believe these two are deceased, or one of them was deceased, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if it says anything. It said something about some. I looked at them earlier. Some of them are deceased, but she has no criminal record. So, and I saw on another podcast that she didn't have a criminal record either on another podcast either. So, as far as like all of her shit, the only thing that I could find is that Miss Christian was on a dating website, just like all the other hungry Christian single people that want to be safe. She went by Sadie Bulldogs. And her profile says she's out of Marriott, Georgia. Obviously, the site has been taken down or the thing, but she spoke English. But everything else is. See if you guys can see this. There it is. There it is. So yeah, so this was her little profile. Her picture would have been there. And it says here, it would have gave all of her little, stats. But the only thing that's left on here is that she's from Marietta, Georgia. Georgia. So what do you guys think about the story before we start watching videos and get into this? Let's get into the comments. I know this today is not too exciting like it usually is. So we kind of simmered it down here. Let me see. Dogma, what's up? Renee, made it. How's it going? Hey to everybody. Yeah, I kind of came on here. Yeah, she is hurting the children. Yeah, they're getting distracted at school. And that was my whole thing when I talked to the dude Thomas at the CPS office. I was like, so when I went up there, they took me in a back room. The only reason I couldn't record it is because I had to go through a metal detector. And they obviously would have saw it. So, and I could have used my phone too, honestly, but I wasn't, at the time, I wasn't even thinking about it. But I could have flipped my phone upside down and recorded our conversation too. But I would have had to edit it down and beep out my ex's name when her name was brought up and everything else. But he didn't deny it was her. We knew exactly who it was. And it was no secret because it's like, who else knows where the new school is? You know what I mean? And the school ain't calling anybody because there's nothing wrong with the kid. You know what I mean? So, and not only that, you have a track record. So every time they go to a new school or they're at a school or whatever, as far as going, from elementary to junior high to high school, and they flip in schools, you're still calling CPS on their new school. So we know it isn't anybody that's like a distant relative that's worried or something that would be worried if there was anything to worry about. And we know it ain't like friends because anybody who is my friend don't, you know what I mean? They're not involved in the day-to-day activity of, I'm the only one who picks up my kids. So yeah, that part. But yeah, as far as like she isn't gaining nothing. She has nothing to gain from it. It's like it's a lose-lose. She has nothing to lose. The gain is that she's hoping that CPS does the legwork for her because, as you know, I do background checks. And when we went to court, the dude that she's with now is an ex-felon and they got a domestic violence history. So when I went into court with no attorney, All I did was matlock this shit and was like, here's exhibit one, here's exhibit or A, here's exhibit B, here's exhibit C, whatever. And we are 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, yeah, exhibits are numbered, not alphabetized. But yeah, exhibit one, exhibit two, exhibit three, da da da. And I think I had like 12 exhibits altogether between, her background showing a pattern, and then the CPS information, and then the as far as the financial information too. And it was like, here's all the evidence, and this is what everything that she's complaining about or trying to negotiate on has nothing to do with an ARS statute, as far as the kids' welfare being in danger or a benefit to the kids' welfare with what she's trying to negotiate with. I mean, the kids are already on honor roll. What are you going to offer? Because you haven't been to one parent teacher conference ever, ever. So what are you offering? So yeah, that part. So yeah, and people get pissed off and they're like, well, why do you get on live and you and tell your business? And it's like, no, I'm not telling my business. I'm telling the story of what's happening to a lot of parents out there. And it's not just men, it's women too. My sister had to go through this. Her ex-husband died, unfortunately, of a fentanyl overdose or whatever. But when she divorced him, he wouldn't spend no time with the kids, barely time with the kids. And when he did, he was a drug addict, so they would like stay the night at his job in the back of a warehouse, whatever, while he was working. You know what I mean? It was just some bogus shit, and there was nothing she could do about it. And the courts were like, "Well, he's trying, and as long as they're safe, they don't have to necessarily." Da, da, da. And they pulled the same thing on me too, because like we knew when, and I'm not going to label anything, but we knew when mother was at the hotels, because we would have to check the kids when they came in, because every time they would complain about bug bites and it ended up being bed bugs. And she ain't getting bed bugs no place else but a hotel. So all these years in the long game and all the patterns, it's like, we know what you're doing and when you're doing it and when you're back to running the game and when you're at home trying to be mom and, to your new kids and all that, because we could tell by bug bites. So not now, but that's how it was or whatever. But you know what I mean? So it's not when I went to the courts were like, well, bug bites are not considered child endangerment or endangerment to child welfare. And I'm like, at the time, my daughter was like in the first, second grade, and she had bed bug bites all the way down her arms. You know what I mean? And all the way down her arm. And she was wearing long sleeve shirts in the middle of the summer in Phoenix. So it was completely bogus and unfair for the courts not to try to put some kind of anything on it, you know what I mean? Or any stipulation on anything, or any, like, how with fathers, they would put you on like supervised visits or something like that. So the kids wouldn't have to be in an unnecessary situation. They can be in a safe environment while you do your visits. I couldn't even get that at the time. The only way that I was able to finally get supervised visits is when the kids got into their the oldest ones got into their teens, and their domestic violence happened in her new relationship. And then CPS got involved and took them other kids. And now it's like, CPS has never had to come and fuck with me ever. The only time CPS has ever been involved with me and my kids is because of my baby mama. There has never been a neighbor. There has never been a troll. There has never been a family member. There's never been a school. There's never been anybody that has been like, something's wrong. You know what I mean? It's always, and I have a collection of letters. If you go online, you could see all of the letters. I'm gonna end up posting them on this re-edit or whatever, if I decide to do a re-edit on this. But I have like 3 letters from CPS or DCS saying everything is unfounded. And when I went in there today, I was like, dude, I'm collecting these and I'm showing them online, making you guys look stupid on the father's right side of the channel. What's really going on? Because it seems like everybody just wants job security. You guys. So when I went in there, he had a file. He had a file probably this thick, if that, you know what I mean? A little folder was a little thinner like that. And he had to open on the table like I was Neo on the fucking Matrix, and he was, Mr. Smith or whatever. But it was a black Nigerian dude, a big old dude. So when we sat down, he was trying to tell me, he was like, well, I just want to find out what's going on. I want to hear your side of the story. Like he's some kind of cop. And I was like, there is no side of the story, my guy. I was like, you have got the narrative all wrong. Let me explain to you why I'm here. I'm not here to explain myself or give a narrative. I'm here to figure something out. I'm here to get information to find out how to stop harassment. I'm not here to defend myself. I said, I don't even know what I'm defending. I said, I don't know what she said. I don't give a fuck what she said, to tell you the truth. What I'm interested is finding out how come every time that we go to court, she does this and you guys aren't picking up the pattern. I said, I'm looking at the file right now, my guy. I said, I had these two books in there. I had the idea book that I use because I write my notes in there, you know, that I use on the podcast too. And I have my yearly day planner that I preach about, that all fathers should have, that where you keep track of all your parental rights, you know, energy goes into this book. That way you have a catalog of what you did day to day or whatever, as far as like drop off pickups. It's like a journal, kind of like, or whatever, for dads. So long story short, I got a yearly day planner and I'm like, okay, today went to the police station, you know what I'm saying? Paperclip, whatever police cards I need to put in there or whatever. But when I went to CPS today, he asked me like 3 times to try to get a story. So finally I was like, my guy, you're not understanding me. I said, let me pull out my card. And I literally literally, Corey Runkled him. I literally pulled out the father's rights advocacy card on his ass and was like, let me explain to you who I am. This is what I'm about right here. How to navigate the family courts, father's rights advocate. You can hit me at any time with questions, debt, finance, tips, and trips about single parenting. Help starts today. I believe in teaching a man to fish is the only way that everything is gonna, you don't string them along with, you know, beta courses and, you know, online courses to find out how to do it. If you have a question, just ask me, you know what I'm saying? And if it's that serious, like how my shit is, and you're not getting anywhere, let's expose the shit out of the system. The system is broken right now. There are so many parents right now that are dealing with DCS, CPS. I've shown so many fucking videos on this Crime Network channel where CPS is going there taking these kids from parents that are going through financial hardship and their families are hating on them or whatever, or the ex is hating on them. Kids get taken and then foster care ends up literally screwing these kids over. Literally screwing them. Where I did one, there was an FBI ring down here in Arizona where I did a story where and I'm going off memory because it's been like 2 years since it's happened, but it was like a 2-part episode where one video series, I caught it all on the newspapers, where they're at the border, and this is during Trump's reign. They're at the border, and all these border guards are down there, just white men, all white, typical Trumpian looking MAGA heads, all for the border or whatever, and they're all families are all adopting kids. And it just so happens that they're all adopting, and if they're not adopting, they're friends with the other families that are adopting because they're trading off the fucking kids. And the only way that the FBI found out about it, and I got it in my video on you'll see it in my library. The only way the FBI caught onto it is through Kick, the app Kick, which is kind of like Instagram or, you know, one of those social media websites or whatever. But apparently it was like a pedo site or whatever at the time. And they were going on there, and that's how they were either recruiting or whatever. So the FBI agents were going onto the website and basically just acting like, you know, they were basically baiting these guys. And so they caught onto this ring, and they found out that the main family that was doing this to their children was a family out here in Arizona who the dude was ex-military. And it turned out that they kicked him out of the military because he was doing funny shit. And even when he was like going away on tour, his wife was at home still fucking doing the most. So yeah, it was a sad story. And then come to find out, after the ring broke up, the website was still kicking, and there was other families that were involved. And down here, they were going in there for a second round. It was like Operation, I got it on my computer. It was called Operation, hold on, I'll tell you right now. It was called Operation, let's see, E drive, go to the O's. Operation Whiteout. That's what it was called. Yeah, it was Operation Whiteout, and they were trying to catch all these pedos. And matter of fact, I can show you. I actually look. I'll just show you the video itself. Just you think I'm bullshitting? These motherfuckers down here are just ruthless. There's that's why I do background checks. That's where I'm getting at. So we'll just do this quick news clip right here. I'll show you this. Let's see, present video file. Yeah, but that's why I do these background checks, and that's why I do these videos, and that's why I fight so hard. Because when you ain't got anybody to help you out, as far as like the state and the feds or the police, you know what I mean? Where do you go? I mean, who do you turn to? Where are we at? I'll show you this one. All right, you guys, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. Don't touch anything. Don't mess with nothing. All right. Is this the intro to the video? I think this is the video.
Was Operation Whiteout?
Thanks to a joint operation out of Cochise County, 9 people have been arrested on child exploitation charges. The Sierra Vista Police Department says the operation identified adults who were using the internet and social media sites to commit crimes against children. The suspects were arrested between February 12th and the 16th and face multiple child sexual exploitation charges.
Wayne Eugene Hawkins was one of 9 men arrested in Cochise County in February when they showed up at various locations after exchanging sexually explicit messages with someone they thought was a teenager. Instead, they had been communicating with specially trained law enforcement personnel posing as children ages 13 and 14 in a multi-agency investigation called Operation Whiteout. Hawkins, 43, was set to stand trial in July for luring a minor for sexual exploitation, but his court-appointed attorney raised questions about Hawkins' ability to assist in his own defense or understand the 3 charges against him. Judge Laura Cardinal has set a December 20th hearing on Hawkins' competency. While Hawkins awaits a decision on when or if he will stand trial, one of the 9 Operation Whiteout arrestees has already been released from prison. 2 others have signed plea deals, and the other 5 have trial dates set for next year. Now I'm going to try my best to pronounce this guy's name. Alexandru Dumitrescu left prison December 2nd after he pleaded guilty in May to 1 count of criminal impersonation for assuming a false online identity to defraud law enforcement. The Class 6 felony resulted in an 11-month state prison sentence for the 33-year-old Romanian national who received credit for the time he spent in jail after his arrest. He faces possible deportation due to his immigration status. Meanwhile, Aaron Michael Gardner will be sentenced February 7, 2020 in Cochise County Superior Court after he recently pleaded no contest to luring a minor for sexual exploitation. Gardner, 34, was arrested by Operation Whiteout members outside Sierra Vista business when he arrived expecting to meet the 14-year-old boy. Judge Cardinal has discretion on whether to send Gardner to prison to 5 to 15 years or place him on probation for up to 5 years. Regardless of the sentence, Gardner will be required to register as a sex offender. Then on February 20th, 2020, Alexander True Norman will be sentenced at the U.S. District Court in Tucson for the 1 count of attempted travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual activity. Norman, 23, faces up to 5 years in federal prison after admitting he used instant messages to share an image of adult male genitalia with whom he believed was a 14-year-old girl before he drove from Tucson to Sierra Vista to meet her. The length of Norman's sentence will depend on the results of the psychosexual assessment he must undergo prior to sentencing. Court records show he will be required to register as a sex offender and remain under lifetime supervised release once out of prison. Two other defendants, Scott Eugene Hampshire and Joseph Warren Montgomery, are awaiting trial in January in federal court for attempted incitement of a female minor, while Joseph Davila is one of the 3 men set to stand trial next spring in Cochise County Superior Court. Okay, that was pretty bland. So we're going to look into something more into one or two of both of these guys.
Anyways, so yeah, so that's why I go so fucking hard when it comes to background checks, all that stuff. Like I get, like, we've had fathers reach out to me. Like I had this one father reach out to me one time when I was in uh before I started doing crimes and interrogations, when I was just on Facebook, and he was a boxer, and he met his old lady in the gym, and they both used to spar and whatnot. So it wasn't domestic violence that would cause the bruising, it was them sparring in their profession. But as their relationship blossomed and they had kids or whatever, her mother moved in with her, and it caused a lot of tension with them, as far as them being together and not being married and playing house or whatever. And the mother just basically poisoned the well faster than it was poisoning itself from being in, from them playing house. Because if you play house, eventually it's a house of cards. It's gonna fall. So mom made it happen faster. Mother-in-law made it happen faster. So he calls me up and he's like, yo, what do I do? She's got me in family court. I can't afford an attorney. Excuse me. She's got an attorney, and we both have, and long story short, it was this whole shit where they were posted, they actually lived in the same neighborhood down the street from each other. Like the kids could literally walk from one door down the sidewalk, up the block to the other parent's house. But the mother was being an asshole and later was found to be mentally unstable. He ended up getting full custody of the kids. But when he went to establish paternity, him and the mother had went and got an attorney on the grandmother's dime, or the mother-in-law's dime. And they were showing a video that they had did on their phone because they had set him up saying that he needs to pick up the kids. And when he went to go pick up the kids, he's putting them in the car. And as he closes the car door, he then turns around once the door was closed, and then he lays into the mother-in-law and starts talking shit. Well, his video shows everything from when he pulled up all the way up until he got the kids in the car, and then him turning around and then talking shit. Their video that their attorney tried to submit only shows where he turned around in the car and just started going off like he was just some insane guy. So it didn't show the antagonization up until he got the kids in the car, and the kid, not necessarily the kids couldn't hear it, but at least the sound was muffled when they started going in on each other. So what I had, and I can't give legal advice, but what I explained his options were, since he was pro se, was to not deny the anger that's involved. The anger's there, it's on both videos. But what you need to specify on is the character and the nature of not only the attorney, but also the mother and the grandmother, for them cutting out their video to only show you and not their own voices of antagonization up until that point. He did that, and he got his fucking kids. It was 50-50. And then in the 50-50, the mother was trying to sabotage, and I told him to keep the yearly day planner, keep track of the visits, pickups, and all the fuck ups and everything in between. And he did that. When he went to court, the exhibits just came out like all he had to do is, if he wanted to, he could actually turn in the book itself as an exhibit and just take out the key points that he wants so the judge can actually flip through the book. Or what he could do is take copies of those pages that are necessary and use those as exhibits, because there might be a month or two where everything was cool, and then she goes through her, ups and downs, and then then 3 months in a row she's fucking psycho, or there's a new boyfriend in the picture that's causing issues or whatever. But at least it's documented in that in that notebook or whatever. So, but what I teach right here is some of the simple shit. And the reason I do these videos is the simple shit when I'm dead, because I got health issues. I'm not going to be here forever. But when I'm gone, my kids are going to watch these videos and they're going to know everything. Everything. Remove this. Get this up here. So what I did want to do, let me make sure because everybody's trying to hit me up. Check this real quick. I know everybody's like, I want to get on. It's funny because I let them know that I'm about to go live because I don't have a set time. Oh, shit, I can't do it, my guy. I don't have a set time to where I do the podcast. I try to get it done during, when I can during the day, and I try to hit a certain time frame. But I try to let my people know, hey, I'm about to go live. I'm about to go live. You said yesterday you wanted to do it, and then they're like, oh, I thought you forgot, or I thought you were involved with the police and doing what you were gonna do. So, yeah, I hit up my guys to come through, but couldn't make it. Couldn't make it. So I kind of went on a ramble today. Dogman says, what the hell does she think she's gonna do? Is she aware of the work that you put in behind everything you do? I don't think anybody does. My kids and I were talking about that after we dropped off Aaliyah, my oldest ones. We were talking about that on the way to the high school today about harassment and stuff. And my oldest one she bless her heart, she's 17. She was like, what blows my mind, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of, what blows my mind is how they say harassment, but if they look at your channel, they see video like after video after video. When would you have time? I mean, as much effort and time that you put into researching and, and then going to school for us, and, you make sure you fill your time in where it needs to be filled in. You don't have time for anything else. And I'm like, give me a hug. I'm glad we were at the light. And I was like, give me a hug. Glad somebody's wearing this. Glad somebody's watching. Sarah says, hey, Norm, just wanted to pop in, say I'm sick. Also, I'm so sorry that you're having problems to go through this. Man, bitches be tripping. Amen. Hey, super late. Yeah, we're not really talking about anything today. I did want to go. So I did increase my internet. I called. We did it. We went from $30 a month. I increased it to the $107 a month, which is supposed to be unlimited. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let's see what the internet is going to show us today. If we can see it or not. It looks so clear. Let's see.
For a lot of us.
I did not realize inviting him to my home probably made his eyes go, oh shit, she's a keeper. She got this 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhouse, and I'm in like a little studio. Yeah, let me go ahead and pursue this. What I need to do to quarantine here.
Because I heard in the story where she said that we quarantined together during the pandemic. And I need to clear that up because during the pandemic, like we're Zooming and we FaceTime. I got her into using Apple products, iPhone, and we FaceTime. During the pandemic, she worked from home. I still had to get up and go to work. And because people at my job were coming down with COVID left and right, I didn't think it was a good idea for us to physically see each other because COVID in Atlanta was horrible. The city was shut down. I'm not an essential worker, so our job had to apply for us to be able to be out in the morning. So I would have to get up in the morning time, go to work, and come home.
Now, the reason, come to find out, so I did some more research on this. Come to find out, the reason he was not an essential worker and had to risk life and limb during COVID was because he was not a regional manager when push came to shove and, background checks were done and other ex-girlfriends started coming forward like, yeah, I survived Legion too. He was a piece of shit. He lied. He did basically the same thing to us too. And one girlfriend and you going online and defending, I can maybe understand partial your side of the story if I didn't hear, the background check, or maybe the background check was not as accurate. But you got like 4 different women, my guy, that are jumping online, like, Nah, like, remember in the past where I talk about there needs to be like a blacklist, a dating blacklist, a black book list for like toxic people? This motherfucker would be on it. This motherfucker was not a regional manager. He was like one of the guys working in the cubicle or some shit. It turned out he was like a nobody at the fucking job. It was hilarious. But let's get back and watch this shit. You guys are gonna die.
I don't want to be around somebody, and I'm around people all day long. They've been out in the community moving around. So if I got sick, I'm gonna get her sick. So during the pandemic, when she said that we were together, yeah, we were talking, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were not in the same house together. It was almost 5.5 months that I didn't physically see her. I saw her like I'm seeing you. I didn't spend any time in that house with her because I didn't want to get her sick if I got sick.
So y'all weren't quarantined together then?
No.
I didn't want to quarantine by myself. So he moved in. We talked about the bills. Let me clear something up that I said in the other video where I said he paid all the bills. He paid all the household bills. He did not pay my car payment, my cell phone, or my car insurance. He paid the rent because my rent at the time was less than $1,000. When he's telling me that he's a regional manager, I was like, wow, okay, so you got money.
So
Now, right there, that video right there had Erica Patterson vibes all over it. Like, all she saw was like a come up. Like, Miss Christian, that little statement right there missed me with that whole church shit, because that, even with the hyper sound effect at the end, let me put myself on there so I can make myself perfectly clear on this. Even with the hyperbolic sound echo at the end about, oh, you got money, or whatever it was at the end, her whole demeanor and her whole bougie attitude. Let me clear one thing up about what I said in the last video when I said he paid all the bills. I didn't mean he paid all the bills. I mean, my rent was only under $1,000, and I did have to pay my insurance, my car insurance, and I had to pay for my own phone. Bitch, you ain't look like you missed a meal. Matter of fact, you look like you've stolen meals and had your own meals at the same time. What the fuck you talking about? Back to the show. Jesus. People, other people's children, I swear to God.
when you first met her, do you feel like it started off about money?
No, absolutely not.
I was gonna say, because like when you were talking about the job and everything like that, it was just casual conversation. It wasn't like, hey, look, I got all these big things coming up, and this is what my situation is now, but this is what it's gonna be. You don't think that like none of that played into y'all's relationship at first?
No, I mean, I told her in the beginning my job was demanding at times, and it was. And then I did charity work on top of it, and it was something that I wanted to do. My grandfather used to do it, and he got me into it. A guy that two gentlemen that are not my brothers, but I call them my brothers. A long time ago, both of them like just looked out for me, and because when my father died, they just stepped in like father figures, but they're like big brothers to me. And
so if you notice, he has a hard time keeping eye contact with the camera, like big time. And it's the same issues that you'll see like if you watch like the interrogation videos and crime videos or whatever, they have a hard time making eye contact when they're telling their story if they're lying. When they're telling, like when you hear Daryl Brooks, when you watch his interrogation, like when he's like talking about Erica, he's engaged. He's like, oh, but as soon as they start talking about the crime, like the parade and the drive-in and who could, and start going off of Erica, all of a sudden he's like, am I being charged with something? You know what I mean? Or, well, I don't know my shoulder, or I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you know what I mean? But they never want to make eye contact. This motherfucker looking all the way around the room like, what's that Quentin Tarantino movie? The Usual Suspects. Like at the end where the dude was in the gimp was in the fucking room and he was doing the interrogation, and at the end he let him go. And he looked around the room and everything that he saw in the room was part of his story. Like all the words on the wall were phrases that were fucking part of this elaborate story that he made. It's like, that's what this guy is doing. It's like he's looking around the room to answer the questions in the podcast?
They did some of the same charity work, so I just wanted to lend a hand and help them help people, and it's just something good to do. Ain't nothing better than helping people who need it.
I am not, this is where it's not going to make me look good, but it's the truth. It was intoxicating to not have to worry financially about how to pay the bills. It was a wonderful feeling. And so I kind of pushed to the side the fact that, yeah, you shacking up, because it's like, but your page, you don't have to worry right now. Like, he's taking care of all of April's bills before April even comes, because this was still March. And then we have a conversation about house.
Was there a turning point in this situation? Like, was there a certain point where you were like, okay, I'm noticing she started to be on edge about stuff?
I told her in the beginning pretty much everything about me, and I told her there's certain things I wasn't going to discuss with her because I felt like, as a girlfriend, not your business. How much money I make, not your business. My exact finances, not your business. She knew for a fact I had money because, again, I bought dinner. I did everything. The first time we went out, yeah, she paid for hers. I paid for mine. After that, she didn't buy another meal.
For the whole time y'all were dating?
All right.
Yeah, no, never again.
Let's pause for the cause.
Never paid for food again.
Let's pause for the cause and get into the comments, because I know the ladies probably have a bunch of things to say about this one. Let's see. Going back to Sarah, if CPS and DCF would be criminally and financially liable for their mistakes and the way they treat families, it would be a huge overall in the system. Absolutely. Well, that's all the system everywhere. Could you imagine if every far right and far left group got what they wanted? As far as the Constitution is set up for individualism, you know what I mean, for your rights, not for the rights of a specific group. It's because they knew it was a melting pot. We had so many different denominations that were piling in. They couldn't just say, okay, only the Irish. You know what I mean? It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. But yeah, I agree with you. So Nicole says, what's up? This video is everywhere. It is. And the reason why is because drama sells. Jesus. Oh, this one. You know what's so dope about this one is I have my mom in the room watching this right now because I want to get her on the podcast, or not necessarily on the live podcast, but at least get her on recording of me, her going back and forth talking about this. I really just want to interview her on what she feels about the whole situation between the two of them. And, you know, because my mom's old school. So she says, oh, you got money. Go, go digger. That's the impression I got too when I watched it. I was like, hello. I was like, this is got gold digger vibes all over. This is, man, if this woman had the body of a 19-year-old, she'd be a stripper. She'd be like, fuck God. What up, Bubba? Nicole said, good afternoon. Welcome to the Leary family. Welcome. Let's see, you're here. Yeah, I told her he was a promoted VP of the company, but then went to work at a factory dressed like, yeah. So there are so many layers to this thing. I was watching this while I was doing Uber. I was having a pause it in between rides, and when I went to lunch, of course, I watched it during my lunch break. But oh my God. There are so many layers to this because we're only punching through like the first layers of this onion. There was like, we haven't even got into the houses. We haven't even got into the money. She said, so this fool apparently had like multiple accounts, anywhere between 3 to 5 bank accounts. We don't know for sure anything. Nothing has been seen as far as the public. All we're getting is hearsay out of both of them, but her story is a little bit more plausible than his story. And because of his criminal record and because of her investigation on him going to San Diego State, he didn't play no football and no college nowhere. And I guess they got a hold of family members and they were like, he's bad news, he's this, that. And it's a big telltale sign when you are doing your thing and there's no family behind you whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Not even your girlfriend is wanting to be in the frame of this. That's a big telltale sign. Good afternoon. Doc Mom says, wouldn't she have gotten any idea of something which just made the comment about how he had a lonely studio apartment? That part, but he claimed he also, I guess he had a house, is what he's saying, and the studio apartment was what was 15 minutes away from the job since he, because of COVID. So apparently, he claimed he had an escrow account, overseas account, and 3 bank accounts, and she admits that she saw the bank accounts and he had money in those accounts. So when they went to go look at houses and he was going to put cash down according to her and he was going to get a loan or whatever, they were looking at houses because he had money in the bank. She says she saw it flat out. She saw him do the password into his phone for his I think it was his Chase account or his Bank of America account or whatever, and he flipped the screen around and showed her. And then she was like, all right, let me see the third account. Because I know what it was is they looked at the checking account. I'm going off memory. Checking account, he had like 95,000. She had, I think it was 35, something like that. She had a lot less. And then they went into savings, and I think he had like 100. He had a lot more in savings. She only had like 15 in savings, and he had like some exorbitant amount. And then she wanted to see the other accounts, and the other accounts were like, whoa. So he didn't want to show her. And then he explained to her, she was like, I guess she was acting like, why are you being shady or why are you being hesitant? And he was just like, well, my uncle taught me to keep money close to my chest because once women find out that you got money, they act a certain way. And she was like, women? We're married. And I'm like thinking to myself, what the fuck does that got to do with nothing? What is marriage? Just because you signed something that made everything just stop like you, okay. You could take the hoe out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the hoe. Just saying. Why is she acting surprised now? She just, it's just a studio apartment and she acted like was nothing special when you think that the money, when you think he didn't have money with, yeah, like I said, she saw it, but yeah. Yeah, I thought, man, it's like she's got stripper vibes all over her. Like she wears the makeup, the whole nine, but she's just, and I'm not trying to body shame, but when you have an Oompa Loompa that is just fucking acting high sedity, and it reminds me of that meme. There's a meme where somebody did one where this woman, I'm probably gonna show it in the re-edit, where a woman was like, I could get any man I want during this podcast, and she looked like Humpty Dumpty. Look, she looked like Jabba the Hutt. I mean, she had this big ass fucking chin, and she was like, I could get any man that I want. And it was just everybody in the room just went quiet like crickets, like cap. The houses, the houses they looked at were huge and beautiful. I could fit my entire living accommodation in the bathroom alone. Laugh out loud. I agree, Julie. I saw that shit too, and we'll keep watching a little bit more of this. But I was looking at that shit too. I was like, you mean to tell me $700,000 is what gets you this type of? Are you kidding? In Georgia, this is what you get for $700,000. These type of houses out here are like multi-million-dollar houses that they're looking at out here in Arizona. I mean, with the space and yeah. But out there, they got to worry about termites. Well, I guess we do too a little bit, but not like out there. You guys got all that humid in Georgia. We don't have the humidity. But yeah, it was just, man. Yeah, so the other argument I think they had, and Julie, correct me if I'm wrong. So she said that he was going to put the money down in cash. And the only reason that I can halfway believe his story on the finances is because I'm a paralegal in I'm a former paralegal in the financial industry. And I know about credit, I know about finance, I know how it works. And everything he was saying is everything from what Dave Ramsey to myself would preach if somebody would ask me about debt and credit or what to do. And he was absolutely right. He was like, you got to build up your credit to debt ratio, your credit score has to be up. If we go into buying a house, even as a married couple, you have to be put on the loan because you're going to want your name on the deed or the title of the home. And if your name is on the home, that means they have to run your fucking credit, you nitwit. So if we go after all my credit while you're sitting there spending up all the money with bad credit, that means I'm not only not paying for your spending habits as just to keep you on the fucking pillow or just to keep you pillow talking with me, but I have to also pay more mortgage than I would have to if your credit was just good, if you would just sacrifice. You know what I mean? I understood that part of his argument. And that's the only thing that I can hang on to this story is her. I could see her being very, very irresponsible with money. And I can at least, I wouldn't say very irresponsible, more irresponsible than him with the way he was talking and the way she was explaining. Like, I saw his bank account. I think once he realized, oh shit, I married this, I got into it too fast, he had a baby. And I think once he was already playing the game. I think once she lost the baby because she was emotionally invested. I think he checked out a long time ago. But when she miscarried or lost that baby at birth, that was his exit. I think that's when he completely was like, I have no attachments now. There ain't even going to be a kid. He literally dodged the bullet on that one. She did too, if you think about it. What do they say? God only protects babies and fools. I think in that one he protected both of them. So, oh my God. I don't even know what to say, but I do have my mom watching it. I do want my mom to give me an opinion on what's going on. It's going to be funny to hear what my mom has to say. Facts. Yeah, last one, I'm in Boston. 700,000 is no way you're getting that. Yeah, I'm just like, are you 700,000 out here? You're lucky to get, I think it's 700,000 out here. You're probably going to get a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe a 3-bedroom, depending on what side of town you're on. But yeah, I've been in the house. I've looked at houses too when I had a settlement, and I was like, how much I have to put I have to put 10% down on what? Yeah. Oh my, I know who you're talking about saying she couldn't get any man. Maybe if that were a deaf, dumb, and blind. You saw that one too? Oh my God, that is a classic meme. Oh my God, she's just like, I could get any man I want, blah, 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 blah. And everybody was just like, cap. Oh my God. Can't wait to hear your mom's opinion. Man, I just got it. She's not gonna come on and probably show her face, but she will talk about it. Like, I'll probably have her do her avatar and talk about it and just have her voice on. Because my mom could get animated. You think I'm animated. You should see her when she starts seeing shit on TV. Like, she used to watch my videos. I had to stop her. Like, she used to come over my shoulder and watch me edit a show or whatever, or edit a video, especially one that was really controversial. And then she would go off into a tangent about one time when I was a kid, there was these twins that disappeared in Bakersfield and I mean, it was just like, mom. I didn't mean to trigger a story. I gotta work, you know what I'm saying? But she would just get animated and just try to tell, you know what I mean? So I'm curious to know what she would say, because I'm about to give her the mic and just let her just do her. I'm just gonna let her do her. The therapy that is mine will be for my mother as well, so she can get it off her chest. Only I'm gonna have to tell her, make sure you don't go too old school and start saying words that old people say that the new school would find offensive. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is. Old school be like, "Oops, I didn't know I couldn't say that." It's like, yeah, mom, you can't say that. Even if you are explaining what other people used to say, you still can't say it. So yeah, because her mom was like, she used to tell me stories about how my grandmother was Irish, and she was like super racist. And there was this one time where because my mom expanded her music collection and they used to listen to vinyls back then. And my grandmother went through my mother's vinyls because my mom would have to put on the headphones or play the music very low. And she started listening to Motown. And she told me a story about one time where she came home from school and they got into it because mom went in there and just started snooping around her room and looked through her little vinyl collection that she had. and there was the Jackson 5 was in there. And she pulled, while they were talking, my grandmother pulled it out from behind the couch. She didn't even go in the room and go get it. She already had it. She already had the stunt planned, and she took it right out of the thing and busted the vinyl over her knee, talking about there won't be any jungle music in this fucking house. And I was just like, yeah. So we all got them in the family. You know what I'm saying? We all got them. I remember one time my grandmother. Now both of my grandmothers are dead. Rest their souls. But I remember my grandmother Nix and my grandmother, my grandma Elder got together. Eleanor got together one time or twice. They got together. My birth and then my sister's birth. And my sister and I, same mother, same father. My sister looks more German Irish than I do. I took after the the black side of the family. She went on the other end of the gene pool and started backstroking into the European side. So my sister is red hair with freckles with porcelain skin. Even though our facial features, you could tell when we're side by side, we kind of look alike. So long story short, my grandma, my black grandmother, my grandma Nix, was explaining to me before she died that the one experience that she had that she could remember with Eleanor was when Heather was born. She was holding Heather in my sister in her arms, and I was on my grandma Nix's lap, and she looked over at Eleanor, and me and my sister are only two and a half years apart, and she looked over at my white grandmother and was like, which one, my white grandmother looked at my black grandmother and said, which one do you like the best? And my black grandmother looked up at her because my black grandmother already knew about her reputation. So my black grandmother was trying to be really cautious about what to say because family was all there. And she was like, neither one, they're both my grandchildren. And my white grandmother was like, I like this one the best. And started coddling my little sister all tight. And my grandmother would just looked at her like, I can't believe she just said that. She was like, I'm just glad you weren't old enough to remember it, or to witness it and understand what she just said, that she just favored one grandchild over another grandchild. It just blew her mind. But yeah, I was just like, damn, that part. So phew, yeah, we all got them. So I can't wait for my mom, man. Yeah. She's still watching it. She might have took a break. It sounds like she's watching Bones or some shit. Anyways. Well, with that being said, let's get back into this and watch some more of this new fuckery that we're seeing that is Legion, the new Daryl Brooks.
Yeah, never. And that's fine because kind of guy I am essentially. If I ask you on a date, obviously I'm paying. That's how I feel. I know somebody gonna be like, no, man, I'm cutting it down the middle. No, honestly, if I ask you out, then I have full intention of I'm taking care of dinner. One of the reasons I did pay for everything other than that is she had told me about her job, her financial situation with student loans. She was very open because she told me about the Nissan Rogue that she was driving. She actually showed me the loan paperwork. And I read over it. And I saw that, she was paying very high interest rate on a truck that really wasn't worth it. I mean, she was paying 3 times what the truck was worth. Not to mention paying student loans, getting up, going to work every day. And actually, like some of the supplies for her job, she was buying herself.
This is when he showed me a letter from Chase with the Chase logo at the top, stating that he had been approved for a mortgage for a $750,000 mortgage or a $750,000 house. So he was like, we can't go over 750. And I said, I remember asking him, can you afford the mortgage on a $750,000 house? Because I know I can. This is when he explains to me, I told you how I played arena football. I invested my money really well.
What was going on with the housing situation, with the cash offer? Like, was the proof of funds?
I told her she wanted, because like I said, she knew about my house and then hers. She wanted to, and this is after we got married.
And again, this is April 2020. This is before we got married. So at the time, he was my boyfriend. His whole attitude was, you're going to be my wife, happy life. And the home was listed, I believe, roughly 400 and something thousand. He's telling me he put an offer in. I need to clarify some things he told me and the things that I actually saw.
She wanted to get a house that we both could live in together. I told her, we looked at her credit, we looked at mine. When we looked at her credit, it wasn't good. So I talked to a financial advisor I know and my brother, Miguel. He's not my blood brother, but he, like I told you, he gave me some good advice. He said, listen, bro, you want to go into a house with this woman. I'm advising you not to do it, but if you're going to do it, she don't have the capital. So what you're going to have to do is it's going to be you. So if you put her on the loan, you're going to pay more. So you might as well just put yourself on there and take care of everything. And you can put her name on the house as just someone living there. So
Boom, boom.
when we talked about it, she agreed to it, but we were still into this marriage. And I told her, I'm not comfortable with buying a house with you just yet. I'll sublease my house out and, we can live, somewhere, or you can do something different. We can figure something out. What she didn't do, and this was the first red flag for me, is she signed a 2-year lease at that house in Riverdale, and she didn't tell me anything about it. The only way I found out about it, because I asked her, because it was coming close to the time to renew the lease, and she said, I already signed a 2-year lease. Why would you do that?
In October, we looked at another house. This house was in Marietta. Absolutely gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I want to say that the house was about $700,000. I really liked the house. I could see myself living there. I could see myself cooking there. And so subsequently, my ex-husband put in an all-cash offer on that house. I watched him put an all-cash offer in on the house.
So at that point, for me, like I told her, my house, Douglasville, I'm not getting rid of that, because for me, I just didn't want to, honestly. No side story. I just didn't want to.
Now, how much sense does that make to you guys? It sounds like this dude's hesitations is like too uncomfortable to be comfortable with. You know what I mean? It's like his uncomfortability answering questions makes me uncomfortable not knowing the answer. It's like, dude, why would you you're bitching at this woman for not spending money correctly. And my guy, you want to keep a whole house for no reason? Help me understand this. We can't buy a $700,000 house with cash down because I already own a home that you ain't been to. And I have another studio apartment, which you don't come kick it at because of COVID. I'm kind of baffled. Yeah. This is where he starts losing me right here.
And I went to her like, well, we can live out here. She got an aunt that was living in like Dallas, Georgia. And I'm like, we'll be closer to her if you want to go out there and see your little cousin or your grandfather or something like that. So we left the situation up in the air. All this looking at houses, she went and looked at a couple of houses. I looked at 2 houses where her, I liked both of them. Both prices were a little needed to be negotiated, but at the time, they wanted to give her a promotion at GSP. And I'm like, why don't you just take the promotion? Because then you can start paying down some of the student loan. I'll help you do that. Let's get your credit up here so that we can go into this house together. Because if I go into it by myself, I don't have a problem doing that, but we got to clean your credit up because we're married. And that means your credit is my credit. So let's get that cleaned up. Woman. She wanted to push to get out of that house. And I said, if you want to get out of the house, you can move in up here where I'm at. But again, buying a house, your credit is not high. It just didn't make sense. Let's get your debt down. Anybody buying a house, you know this. Your credit bad, you ain't buying no house. If your credit good and the person's credit not so good, you're gonna pay more because the person on the loan's credit isn't stellar. And I was trying to help her get that together.
as far as the loan, what made her look for these high houses for 700,000, 600,000 if she didn't have no credit for that?
Tell him I got.
I didn't tell her to look for a $700,000 house. That's a question for her. I don't know. I told her, I don't care if we are in Atlanta. The house that I lived in Douglasville, I got at an auction, and I only paid $125,000 for a house that's probably around $230,000 house. So $600,000 house. I'm like, I'm not going in with that and your credit like this, because we're gonna be paying forever, or I'm gonna be paying forever.
But what I'm trying to figure out, so was the Chase loan, like the approval of the 700,000, was that a real thing? Or
I never went to my bank and needed to get approved for a loan.
I think the part that, was just kind of unclear is that the money was there though. You're saying like the proof of fund, like when you were going to pay for the house in cash, was that even a thing?
I wasn't going to pay for it in cash. I was going to go ahead and get a loan and finance the house. I wasn't about to go spend $750,000 on $600,500. No, on that new. Because honestly, I had told her.
I believe that because I have had money to buy a car in the past with settlements from my prior car accidents or something like that. And I was not going to put all the money down in the car and not have it affect my credit. Because even if you try to pay for a car, and I don't know if it's like that now, but when I went 2-3 years ago to buy a car, when I purchased, I have a 2019. When I went and purchased my car, the car, when I talked to the financier, I was like, well, I have income tax money, all that stuff. I plan on paying it off within 3 months. He was like, 3 months. He was like, it won't even, that's like paying it in cash. If you pay it off within 3 months, it doesn't even affect your credit. It will show that you had something set up, but there would be no credit history for it to have any positive effect on your credit report. You would have to be set up on payments for at least a year, 6 months to a year, for it to catch on your credit book report, at least a year for it to catch on your credit report, so you can start building up that positive line of credit, showing that you're making your payments on time, blah, 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 showing that that contract is good, you know what I mean, and bringing up your credit score. But if you just go and buy a car and it's like, there's no relationship showing that you're responsible. Yeah, you're responsible when you own the vehicle, hot damn. But as far as your business credit, even on your social security number, not just an EIN number as a LLC, but your business credit, if you're buying everything with cash and you're not leasing it, you're not building up any credit, business credit or personal credit, depending on if you're using a social or EIN number. He is absolutely right. He is absolutely right in that case. But as far as him paying cash, this is where the discord happens, because why is she under the assumption, unless he's running game, trying to keep her on the hook because he can't get any other women? Or, because look at him. This motherfucker's wearing a goddamn cross, made sure that cross is predominant. It's like a battle of the Christian. Who's the biggest lover of God? She's talking, I'm in the church, I'm all this. And he's like, well, my grandfather taught me about charity. Look at my cross here. Let me, and it would be the right thing to do, so I like to donate charity all the time in between working hard as a VP, Get out of here.
Her before, the budget for finding a house, we don't need to be over 340. She started looking at houses that high.
Was the proof of funds ever an issue?
No, because I never gave it to the realtor, because all we did was look at houses, and I didn't commit to anything because
he has a trusting face when he looks at the camera, and looks like he can be honest. But when he stares off, he looks like he's been smoking crack, or whatever. Like he can't, like he's hustling for real. But if he can make direct eye contact, he'd be an excellent salesman. He's got one of those faces that, you got to trust. I don't know about the fucking hat and the tag hanging out the cap right there, but.
Because again, I told them solely we're just looking right now. And the two realtors that we dealt with, they understood that and they were fine. There was a guy and another lady that she kept dealing with outside of me knowing, and then she took me to a house, they showed me, and then they wanted all this financial information. And I was like, we haven't discussed this yet.
Because right then you were just looking.
Yeah, because you on a Saturday and say I got an appointment at 12:30, we're gonna go look at this house. And I'm meeting these realtors and they telling me, oh, your wife contacted us and they, this is that and the third. And I said, again, we're not committing to anything yet. And they understood that because I said, right now, her credit is here, mine is here. Like I said earlier, I got to get her here. So when we go into this house, because if I go into the house and I'm buying it myself, can you really say it's your house? You got to help me here.
When something didn't sit right, I would verbally record it in the audio diary because I was like, I don't know what it is, but there's something.
You said she had access to the account. She said the only thing that she saw was screenshots of like the account.
She had access to the 2 accounts I let her know about. I had 5 altogether, but she had access to them. She had access to those 2 accounts because I bled money into those accounts. Paycheck, and then I bled money in if needed be. She was able to go to the bank, buy what she wanted when she wanted to buy it.
He came to me a few days after we started our first counseling session, and he was like, we should.
This isn't like real drama. You know what I mean? This is just, I'm kind of embarrassed now that I'm watching this because I'm like, why am I watching this shit? Because it's like, the only reason I'm watching it is because this motherfucker was able to hustle this woman and get her pregnant just to sleep on her couch. I don't think he ever had I think he was a Daryl Brooks. I think he was actually living in his car. I don't think he had anything going for him. No proof of him going to college, no proof of anything. I think he was an actual Daryl Brooks. He just wasn't a rapper and, narcissistically inclined, but he was a hustler none the same. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know what to think about this. She did like 40 fucking parts of this series. So 40 times 10, that's like 400 hours of fucking video footage of this dude and explaining her side of the story. And I think maybe out of those 400 hours, no, they're 10 minutes, but 40, so it'd be 40 hours. So 10 minutes, what she do, little 10-minute videos. So it'd have been what, 40 hours of video footage, maybe if I'm doing my math, more or less. Long story short, 60, I can't do math for shit. But long story short, all that time that she took to make those videos, you heard what she said, the video library, she is a long distance thinker. She is a chess player. She knew something was coming up and she kept a log of everything. And I got to give her props. I got to give her props, boy, because if you can't monetize and make the relationship work, find a way to monetize afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Without criminally damaging yourself. You know what I mean? But if that person is, yeah, I'm not for that whole protect the kid. I mean, to a point, yeah, it's protect the kids. But what are you going to keep? It's like Santa Claus. You're going to keep lying to these kids and telling them that it isn't what their lying eyes are seeing. You know what I mean? All the way up until the 18. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, you were right. But I just couldn't let you know because it wouldn't be right by community standards if I told you that your mom really did this, or your dad was like this, or well, your grandfather was a rapist, or or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the family secret is, and they say, "Oh, don't family court, best interest of the kids, don't relay your drama," and it's like, well, as soon as they're 18, they're just going to turn around and ask questions and put everything together like it is anyway. So we're just supposed to keep up the Santa farce until they, what I mean? My whole thing going into, and in this situation, thank God I didn't have kids. But my whole thing as far as like dealing with toxic people and having kids and trying to co-parent, it's like, I think the best advice that I got was from my dad. My dad said, why are you focusing on her when she can get herself in trouble? Why are you trying to get her in trouble when she can get herself in trouble? All you need to do is keep doing you. And as long as you're doing you, your armor is thick as thieves. Your armor is impenetrable because there is no evidence showing that you're doing anything to harass her, do anything to incriminate yourself with her, because your time is not focused on her. Your time is focused on you. And that was the best advice that I ever got, doing my thing, because it allowed me to hyper focus on what I should have been focused on. And I wish I would have got that advice because I didn't meet my dad until I was 18. And I didn't get that advice until I was like 30, 31. You know what I mean? So imagine if I would have got that fatherly advice or exposure to my father at a very younger age and got some similar advice to that. Because I doubt my dad, even if my dad was anything that my mom claimed he was, like an alcoholic or whatever, when it comes to your kids, I can't see a parent, in an extreme circumstance, I can. But if you have a relationship and your wife is stepping out to go have an extramarital affair, what the fuck does that got to do with the time she spends with her kids? Because she's not taking the kids to the affair. At least while you guys are together. I mean, I don't know after the fact, after you leave the house, then he might be in to be stepdad. But I mean, and even with the reverse end with the dude, it's like, even with the dude, it's like, why not give him access to his kids? Even if he was, even if he was an asshole to you, you know what I mean? What makes you think that with you out of the picture, he's going to take all that frustration that you guys argue about as far as finances and where he was at the club and what lies he told? Them kids don't have those same arguments with that father that this mother does. So why would you deny access to this man? Let them kids make that decision for themselves and let them tell you, look, I don't want to go to see dad this weekend. And then you could ask, well, why not? Well, because dad always has this guy over at the house and, or whatever it is, let the kids explain it. But when you facetiously, especially as a dude, if you facetiously have been able to fight a battle, let's say you're in my position, you get custody of your kids. How would it look as a guy for the rest of the fucking battle if you didn't try to give custody to her, access to the kids to their mom? You know what I mean? How would that look if you weren't like I know who you are, but they need to see it for themselves. I'm going to take you over there every other weekend, whether it's court ordered or not. Because I know when I first started with co-parenting, it was 50-50. It didn't become full custody until she fucked up. Just like my dad said, she can get herself in trouble. I didn't push anybody into her to get her pregnant. She did it all on her own. With that being said, I'm going to tap out for now. I do got to dip and skip to pick up these other kids. And man, I am just like, let's do these comments real because I do see some people said some stuff. Jay, welcome back to the channel. She says, he's a liar for real. The man told all those lies to that woman, and she should have known better. I agree. I think they both at first were catfishing each other, and he was a bigger catfish, literally. So the dude has the fine qualities of living in a red Ford Escape parked in trailer. Wait till you see the rest of the story. Apparently, he got a knee injury. You guys can watch this on your own too, but he got a knee injury somewhere along the line. Now, he claims it wasn't a knee injury. He said maybe she's referring to a slip in the snow and he hurt his elbow. But she claims that he had an on-the-job injury where he hurt his leg and he was like faking it, but acting like he was going to go to the doctor. And he was faking it, acting so bad that he was even pissing in bottles laying around the apartment. That's got Daryl Brooks written all over it. Miss Meek says she did 50 parts. 50 parts. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Holy shnikes. Good advice. Focus on ourselves. Like it. Yep. That's what I did. That's the reason I got over 500 videos. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, fuck it. Some of them will be bangers. Some of them will be like today. Just be like, yeah, it's a regular day. I mean, you can't always, I mean, even with Superman, when you watch comic books, it's like, it's got to be exhausting. Every issue, every time the camera's on you, you got to be fighting a villain. You got to be, you know what I mean? There's like, you don't never see a comic book or a movie where the dude is just like, took a month off and was just like, I got to do me. Superman needs to go see his kids, you know what I mean? Or got to make some babies or, you know what I mean? Or got to date somebody, you know what I mean? Because I mean, I can't make bangers every day, you know what I'm saying? Even though I do make pretty good track records in conversation. But yeah, as far as like me coming with the sauce, it's like, yeah, you know, I got some stuff on the back burner simmering right now, but let me give you this little appetizer today. So parent-child relationship is different with every family. Every family is different. Every family. And the dynamics are so complex and webbed that you don't know what part of the web is vibrating when trouble comes. And that's why I try to keep my circle really condensed and small, because when you start, because I show everything online, but everybody that you see online, nobody has any connection as far as being able to touch me or my kids, or being able to say, this on a regular basis, or I'm going to teach his kids about this, like that. Because even like right now, with the way because really since I've been YouTubing, it's the family's been acting, kind of way, and it happens with everybody, but um, they kind of alienated themselves, not because of anything that I've done or anything, but because of my baby mama and her wanting to spread everything and try to tell everybody her version so they can weigh in on an opinion. And I'm like, what opinion do you have? I have a household that I take care of, and I don't ask anybody for help. So why are you calling me on her behalf? So that tells me that we got, I don't do that loyalty is a big thing for me. And you only have to fuck me over one time for me to question everything. So yeah, as far as like, that's why I can't respect like the ministry and organized religion, because it's a business to where you have to try to appease everybody, good or bad, until the police show up and you have to tell them what you know. But that's why I can't respect that, because that's why pedophiles hide under under the cloth. It's because nobody will take them accountable because they hide behind religion. And so that's why I'm just like, that's why I go headstrong about all these little groups that are just like, no, we need to have prayer and we need to have this and we need to do, and it's like, no, you need to mind your fucking business, go take your ass to fucking work, help contribute to society, and stop giving your fucking negative opinions about every fucking thing that happens in front of you that you have no control over. It's kind of like alcoholism. It's like accepting the things that you can't change and knowing that, you know what I mean? It's like the serenity prayer. It's like you're supposed to be this big Christian. The serenity prayer should be the first thing that you think about when you start fucking complaining about Mexicans and all this televangelistic shit that you got for. Get the fuck out of here. Gonna make me open a can of worms. And yeah, I'm already, and I don't care about subscribers. Subscriber account is a vanity thing. You guys already know. My channel I know from the activity on there. My channel is worth way more than I get in AdSense because of my mouth and the fact that I don't have any filter when it comes to my opinion. I don't even beep out shit. I just was like, I'll take the hit. As long as I'm not cussing within the first couple of minutes of the segment or whatever. I know how YouTube works. You know what I mean? Because some of my lives are green and I'm saying pedophile. I'm saying all kinds of trigger words that even fucking Jake Prince was scared of, talking about he got a grape case. And I'm like, a grape case? It's purple? The fuck are you talking about? A grape case? A rape case? The fuck are you afraid to speak English for? That's how the left has got you. The left and right has got you scared to say fucking English words? Get the fuck out of here. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'll be demonetized, but you ain't gonna put a filter on me. And if the video is that where it's red and you're not gonna show it, I'll put it in the membership. Because believe me, the people that are paying to see this, they want to hear what I have to say. And even though your Disney doesn't want to pay, put commercials on my shit, I don't give a fuck. Because the way things are growing and the contacts that I'm making, I have a Patreon, but I just don't have the time to put my videos on there. But once I start blossoming it out and start staffing up and start making this channel like official, I'm not trying to make it like TYT and and all that shit. I'm just trying to make it like accurately official to where the guests are just like, like Shay, you know what I mean? Not necessarily celebrities, but my main thing is trying to improve the quality, you know what I mean? Not because I got the gift of gab, you know what I'm saying? I already know that. I know I can talk to myself. If I was locked up in jail and I had a roommate, even if I was by myself, you know what I'm saying? I would just practice podcasting. I would act like somebody was watching me on the camera. You know what I'm saying? And act like I had an audience, just like right now. They would think I was insane. I'd be like, no, motherfucker, I knew you were watching me the whole time. That's what kept me sane, is knowing that you guys are watching me in the camera. So when you thought you caught me, no, I was showing off. Like the birthmarks. So anyways, But with that being said, I'm gonna skip out of here. Nicole says she was filming everything 10 minutes in increments. Yep. That's kind of scary. That reminds me of my ex too. One story that I had, and this is stuff that you need to worry about too. At least I don't think women necessarily have to worry about this more than guys have to worry about this, but be careful of those, especially when you're young, and those women that like to keep journals, because a journal is a one-sided story. I mean, there's a difference between a journal and a diary. A journal is something that you log into every day to say, to give your highlights, to give the bullet points of what happened. But when they're keeping a diary, that's when you need to be scared. Because I remember, and mental health wasn't on the forefront of my mind when dealing with my ex. But when I was dealing with my ex, I remember when we first got together, and it's not all, you don't always agree on everything, but it was like whenever we had like any kind of disagreement, she was like writing it down in this journal, and I didn't understand why. And it was years later that I looked into the journal, that I found, the journals that she was keeping, and they were like basically like a diary of our relationship. But it was like a one-sided story that she was doing, where she was building this narrative, like, I found this porn magazine and underneath the bed. And it was like when we first got together. So, of course our stuff mixed up, and I had some shit from high school or whatever. But it was like, I found this, something, old pair of something, and I've never seen before. I have my intuition that he's cheating on me, but I'll just keep my eyes open, and it was like, what am I, a fucking science experiment? But I was reading this shit, and this is when we broke up, because she had left her shit at my house. But I'm like looking at all these old diaries and shit, and I'm just like, this is why the relationship didn't work out, because you kept going back looking at all this fucking negative shit that you wrote in this fucking sci-fi story of our relationship. Is it just me, or has anybody else experienced that shit? Because man, I know at the end of our relationship, that woman was trying to make me seem like I was crazy, like how when people lie by omission, and you're just like this woman, she's like trying to figure it out, and this dude is just like, oh no, I was like, when she tried to go to him and ask him about his school, like, how come you're not registered in the school? How come your social security number is not popping up when I put it in? What's up with your, what's up, what's going on? And he turned around and was like, oh, and she said, without missing a beat, he said, oh, I'm a private citizen. The fuck is that? That's like, I'm a sovereign citizen. You don't have a social? What the fuck are you talking about? You're a private citizen. Either you were enrolled in that school or you weren't enrolled in that school. But it's just like when I was dealing with my baby mama, it was like, she was like, oh, prove it. It's like, well, you were lying. And she was like, I'm lying. We'll prove that I was lying. And it's like, I'm sitting there like, well, one, nothing you said added up. I mean, what am I supposed to, like, pull semen out of the fucking underwear? I mean, I don't understand what you're talking about. How am I supposed to prove it? The proof is the lie itself. What do you mean, prove the truth or prove what actions happened? Yeah, it was like, and then when you go to family court and you're like, you try not to talk about the mundane bullshit that was between, like how she's doing the video log. You try not to do that in family court, because the judge just looks at you kind of like how we're doing like now, and is like, what does this got to do with the kids? You guys didn't even have kids. You almost did. You dodged a bullet. But why are we so interested in this? With that being said, it's your boy Norm. I'm gonna check out. I'll tap in tomorrow.